Hey there, welcome to my Christmas tree and my living room. I wanted to do this video here this time for the holidays in celebration of this special time of year. But we're here to talk about 6 tips for eye contact on video calls or videos when you're using a PowerPoint. So let's dive into those 6 tips. The first tip is really just something to be aware of, that your voice is actually more powerful than your body language when it comes to a lot of video calls. And you can understand why, right? We're like looking at our text messages or on another screen. Maybe we're even like walking away from the computer and with because your video is off on that Zoom call when you're watching. A lot of people aren't actually watching you. And then when you are using a PowerPoint, you become that tiny little box up in the corner that they can barely see. So your body language, including your eye contact, is not as impactful as your voice. And I'll do another video in the new year about how to use your voice well on video calls, because that's even more important. But let's talk more about eye contact here. The second tip is to be aware that your camera on most computers is at the top of the computer, right? It's the top center, and there'll be a little green light that goes on. At least that's what happens in my computer. Right now I'm using my phone as a video camera, so I look towards the camera on the phone. It's the same idea. Look towards the camera. Now, do you have to stare down that camera the whole time? No, just look towards the top third of your computer screen, towards the center. It can be a little lower than the camera, it can be a little higher, it can be a little to the right, a little to the left, but as long as it's within that top third area, it will look like you're looking at us. So the third tip builds on that. If you're looking towards the top third, then it can be totally fine to have your notes in the top third of your screen. What I do is I put my notes in a Google Doc, and then I make the window of the Google Doc really narrow up at the top, and I just scroll as I'm speaking so that I have my notes right there. But now I would recommend that your notes are not full out sentences. They're just simple phrases that you can slightly glance at briefly, grab what you need to say, and move on. Another piece of this whole top third of the computer thing is that you can actually move the pictures of the other people on your Zoom call to the top third as well. So just move them up there. Click it and drag it up to the top so that maybe it's a long line of people at the top of your screen. Maybe it's just one other person, but whoever is the other people that you're talking to, if you can see them, you put them up at the top. The fifth tip here is something a little fancy, a little tricky that I've been playing with, a new feature from Zoom. If you're using Zoom, you can actually put yourself inside of the PowerPoint. So if you're using PowerPoint a lot, you might want to redesign your PowerPoints to fit your actual video inside of there. It's under the screen share settings. If you go to advanced, click advanced, and then you can choose put yourself in your PowerPoint, and then your image shows up there. Now, if you have a normal background sort of like this, you'll have the whole background in the PowerPoint as well. But I also have a green screen. You've probably seen other videos that I've done with green screen. If you have a green screen, it will literally just cut you out, cut out your head and everything, and put you into the PowerPoint, which is pretty cool. So that's something to start planning for, maybe, that you could be inside of the PowerPoint and then they can see you simultaneously. You're just looking at the camera like we've talked about a moment ago, and there's looking at the PowerPoint at the same time. And the last thing I'll share as a quick tip around eye contact for using PowerPoint is, instead of looking down to advance to the next slide, use a Bluetooth clicker. I have one in my desk. Just pop it into your USB and make sure it has batteries and you can be advancing and nobody will even see it. You don't even have to look down. You can feel it with your fingers and advance, just like you would in a in-person kind of meeting, right? So know your slides, have rehearsed them enough that you don't have to look down, and just use the Bluetooth clicker. I hope these tips are helpful. We're all learning the new virtual world, how to be more professional, how to look more polished, but also remember that your authentic presence, your humanity, your realness, is that a word? Realness is what really matters to an audience. They want to feel you. They don't want to just get your information. So do whatever you need to do to shake off the fears and show up authentically. Happy holidays.